is the best hope for liberals, the left, Democrats, anybody who wants MAGA to stop, the new generation. Adam Mockler has millions of followers, huge reach all over social media, and he is making his mark. Is this the difference? I decide to test. Chris Cuomo here from the Chris Cuomo Project. Thank you for joining. I wanted to sit down with part of the tip of the spear, let's say, of the influencers who are really making an impact on the left, or Mockler would call himself a liberal. What's the difference? What are they trying to do? What do they believe is working for them? What isn't working for them, in my opinion? Time for conversation as a cure. What do you say? Let's get after it.
I think that in politics right now, like Newsom only started to pop off when he started projecting this level of strength. Like, do you think that empathy, I think that's the Democratic Party trying to lean into being empathetic and sweet and soft. It's kind of burned us for the past decade, right?
I think it's about how, and I think it's the balance. And I think Newsom is resonating, yes, but for the wrong reasons. And I totally love that we're jumping in midway because this is where Adam Mockler and I are, all right? I love your success. Because you're young. Yeah, that's cool. And you're connecting with people your age and beyond. Yeah, that's great. But there's a thoughtfulness that is not just, you lefties have a tendency to beat us over the head with your intelligence. And it comes off as an arrogance.
Yeah.
And that turns people off, even if you're right. And we're talking now about what the left needs to be. All right, so let's take a step back and say, what's the goal? Like, I'll tell you how you should be if you tell me what you want. What do you want?
What is the goal for people on the left?
Yeah.
I'd say that, first of all, I call myself more of a liberal, not really a leftist. I don't know if there's a distinction for you there, but I'm more of a liberal. I think the goal should be to maximize the happiness and well-being of everybody in America by making sure they have a strong family, they have access to healthcare, access to things that people need in a society. So I'd say we can reverse engineer from just maximizing everyone's well-being, which is the pretty basic.
Do you want more positions of power in government?
More positions of power in government. I think that, yeah.
So you want to win more elections.
Yes,
you want
to
win the midterms.
Of course, yeah.
So here's your problem, or your challenge, let's say. To win elections, you have to make the other side lose, okay?
Yeah.
That is the easiest path to victory, right? That's why gerrymandering is such a big thing, because you limit the ability to lose. That's why you have an over 90% retention rate with an under 30% satisfaction rate, right? That's the only time you get that. No one stays where they are if everyone thinks you suck, unless it's rigged, and it is.
Yeah.
So if the straightest line in Mockler versus Cuomo is Cuomo sucks, I think that that's how you win elections. The problem is that's not a liberal at their best. That is an anti-liberal at their best.
So you're saying that, so I get what you're saying, but our whole strategy was sort of Trump sucks. But you're saying that needs to be matched with a more forward-looking vision, like from the Obama era.
I think Trump sucks is MAGA. I think Trump sucks is all grievance, all outrage, leaning into it.
Yeah.
And I am your retribution. I am your vengeance. That famous line from the movie Snatch, where the guy says, do you know what nemesis means? It is the righteous infliction of retribution as manifested by an appropriate agent. In this case, an horrible cunt, me. That's what Trump is. He is the nemesis of the left. He is going to punish all the people in MAGA that MAGA wants punished.
Yeah.
I see the reaction to that becoming more like that. Newsom's popularity to me is a yellow flag. Maybe not a red flag, but a yellow flag.
But it worked for Trump. He attacked the enemy. He was able to consolidate power off of, talking to people's grievances, saying you're not happy with the system, you're not happy with what's happening. And with Newsom, the whole framework I've been using is the attention economy. That Newsom is dominating the attention economy because he realized that's what Trump's been doing for the past decade. And you see Newsom out there getting millions and millions of views on these all caps tweets. If he wouldn't have tweeted it in that format, it would have gotten way less views. So what I think Newsom's doing is, number one, playing to the grievances of the party, saying, hey, we should go after like the opponents. But two, just trying to dominate attention so he can drive the narrative for Prop 50.
Look, for you, that's enough. If you're getting gazillions of views and getting paid and getting reach and getting your eyes out there, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not a leader. You're not elected to get something done.
Yeah.
That's the space. No one's getting elected to do anything except stop the other side. In that, I believe there is opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We've been here before. It's louder because of social media, and we have this weird thing going on right now, which I think will change in the not too distant future. What is it? Fox News and Newsmax almost got sued out of existence because they fill in the strong language you want, misinformation about Smartmatic.
Yeah.
Okay? They lied, they intentionally this, whatever. They almost got sued out of existence,
Yeah.
right? They are a wastebasket fire compared to what social media did with the same information.
Mm-hmm.
Those companies get a pass. Why? Section 230. Why? Because I don't control Mockler. I just built the house. I built the house. I maintain the apartment. Mockler's coming in. I don't make the content the way Tucker Carlson did.
Yep.
And I don't buy that anymore. Why? Because I amplify Mockler. Because I know with my technology how to pick up on what he's saying and whether or not it will resonate. And what is the resonation that I want? Oh, the resonation I want is outrage, is grievance, is negativity. Why? Because it sells best.
Mm-hmm.
It gets me the best click-through, and that's where I put my ads. So I don't know what Mockler's creating. Okay. But I'm taking what he's creating and I'm using it and I'm amplifying it and I'm drowning out other voices and I'm prioritizing yours and I'm making it trend. And I'm taking shorts of it now with software that you don't even know about and I'm making smaller clips of it.
Yeah.
Now am I a creator? I say yes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're making money off it and you're amplifying certain things and not others, you're making choices of what creation there is and what there isn't. And as soon as you do that, there should be a responsibility. That has to change. That's the problem with social media, is that you can say, I got to tell you, I don't think that this Tylenol research that just came out from Harvard is dispositive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get drowned out by people saying, never take Tylenol again. They've been killing us the whole time. We knew it. That needs to change. So in the information economy, as you understand it and benefit from it, you're right about Newsom. And you're right about what the opposition to MAGA needs to be.
Yeah.
However, I don't think that that's the only standard, and I don't think it wins elections for Democrats. I don't think becoming what beat you gets you where you want to be. And I am not being high-minded or overly virtuous.
Yeah, I get
I'm
what
being pragmatic.
I get what you're saying, that you can't just become what beats you, but at some points, before having to change the game, like Newsom can hopefully change the game so he doesn't have to play like this, but you have to play the game that Trump is playing, and that is attention. I think that there's a second part to what Newsom was doing. Beyond driving the attention and getting these views, he was driving a narrative about Prop 50 that he's trying to push, which is their effort to redistrict in proportion to what Texas is doing, right? So he's been using this, I think this entire stunt has been to push attention towards Prop 50, and it seems pretty brilliant. We now have like millions of views on tweets about Prop 50 that wouldn't have those views otherwise.
The views, though, are
But it's a double-edged sword.
It is, because look, if I get a lot of views by showing how small my junk is, are those good views? No, because that's not really something that I probably am going to benefit from in the long haul. I think that we've lost the plot on that.
Yeah.
It's like, as long as it's getting viewed, look, there are people now, I watch them, who used to be pretty trying to do it the right way in terms of their craft of journalism writ large, okay? Journalism is a broad term, not really narrow, just the facts, right? There's more to journalism than that. There always has been. And now it's straight clickbait with these people when they go digital.
Yep.
I'm going to follow you around and try and get you into a conflict, right? Hi, a lot of people think you're losing it, Adam. What are you?
I'm not losing it.
Oh, wait, are you attacking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, why are you attacking me? Yeah. And now it gets click. And that is, I believe, a mistake. I think it's playing into a problem, but it is effective. What I want to see from Newsom is mock Trump, fine, get you clicks, information economy. Okay, that works. All right, fine. But then that second piece Instead, do this, okay? Instead, I'm doing Prop 50 because I have to, okay? But what I want to do is I want to change the rules. And we're also bringing a case, and we're doing this, and I want to run on this kind of platform where there will be no more gerrymandering. It will be done by an independent panel of non-elected officials who will figure it out for the whole fucking country. They'll figure it out. And both sides will put people on that fucking thing. And I'm going to incentivize them. They're going to get $1 million each to deliver the report. They're going to get $10 million each, though, if they deliver it in this much time and get it done. That's the second piece. That's better. That's not just good for you for saying that Trump is a miserable bastard who, right after Erica Kirk says the one decent thing that's come out of Charlie's murder, which is her saying, I'm going to forgive this guy. Not just because it's a statement of my faith, but it's the only way to relieve myself of the burden of how much I hate this guy for what he did, which was a really strong thing to say. He comes out and he says, not me. Sorry. I hate my opponents. Hate them. To me, saying, wow, what an asshole. What a stupid thing to say in that moment, even if he was joking, which I think he was. But still, wrong time, wrong joke. That's not enough for me.
Of course,
And I think it's why you guys lost. I don't think for all the things about Kamala Harris, yes, you got beat by a bad game. She got beat down and made to seem less than she is. I think that's true. Did she contribute to it? Yes. But I get why your guys' takeaway was what it was. But I also believe, with the benefit of having lived your past, okay, which is a little different than studying the past, right? Why did my father win when he wasn't supposed to? Why did Obama win when he wasn't supposed to against Hillary? Why didn't Bernie win? Because of better. The majority of this country, and remember that too, okay? Your life on digital media, you are playing to the few, not the many. Even if you had 10 million, okay? 10 million every week. You had Rogan's audience. He's still playing to the few, not the many. The many want reasonable. They want balanced. They want sane. They don't want boring. That was a mistake describing it that way. Can you actually do anything that will make something that I care about better? One, are you willing to say no? And not just blame somebody else, but help me understand why that is and what would have to change? And if the answer is yes, what does it look like? Tell me, because then I don't give a fuck what he's saying. That usually makes me laugh. Because this way, hold on, shut up for a second. This actually matters. That's the space. That's the space. The Chris Cuomo Project is brought to you by the Freedom From Religion Foundation. Now, this is an important one, okay? I choose faith. I choose it. I do not choose to put it on you, okay? And for those of us who believe in the key aspect of the First Amendment, which is that we do not have institutionalized religion as part of the state, okay? The Freedom From Religion Foundation just helps stop two big pushes to put religion into public schools. You want to inculcate values, great. I think we need more of that. But religiosity, I think that's more the problem than the solution. In Texas, a federal judge blocked a law that would have required the 10 Commandments to hang in every public classroom. And in Arkansas, after another FFRF lawsuit, a judge ordered that Conway schools in Arkansas immediately remove their 10 Commandment posters. The rulings remind us public schools are for everyone, okay? For those of your faith, other faiths, or no faith, okay? The wall between church and state matters. For now, it is holding, but that is only if people keep advocating and fight the good fight. And that fight is to keep our public institutions free and fair. Go to ffrf.us/school or text my first name, Chris, to 511-511 to stand up for real freedom. Text Chris to 511-511. Look, once you take one step of allowing religion back into schools, It's only a matter of time before it's running rampant everywhere. And remember, today, it may seem okay to you because it echoes your beliefs, but what about when it doesn't? What about when you're not the majority? So go to ffrf.us/school or text Chris to 511-511. Message and data rates may apply, but it is time to fight the good fight. So wait, your father is Muslim?
Yeah.
By choice, or was he raised?
He was raised Muslim. My grandpa's from Syria. There's you want to run you through some of my backstory on all this? It's interesting. So my grandpa moved from Syria in the late 80s and started a business out of his car. He slept in his car. This is a story he's told me a million times. He used to walk to work and sleep out of his car, or walk to his meetings and stuff like that. And then it's interesting. My mom had me when she was 15 years old.
She's Syrian too?
No, she's from America. She's just, super white. My dad's pretty white passing too, because so both of my parents were born in America, right? My grandpa was born in Syria. He moved here. My dad was born here, and then he spent a lot of his childhood over in Syria. My mom had me when she was 15, and it was this whole, they had to get married through the mosque or whatever. And then, 22 years later, they're still together. And really quickly, I was going to respond to something you said before that. I can't remember, but as it pertains to my story in this space, this is a story that I'm always telling. I started the YouTube channel that I have now when I was 9 years old. So the channel that I have now with 1.5 million followers, I literally started that when I was 9. I used to make these dumb fucking Minecraft videos after school, but I would sit there and edit these videos all night, play Call of Duty or whatever. And then when I got into high school, I realized I don't want to do Minecraft stuff. I want to get girls and be normal and actually go out there. And then when I graduated, I was like, wait a minute, I have these skills in editing. I'm still good at conversing with people and talking politics. So I went to a Trump rally 2 states over, and I debated the people there in a very respectful way. A lot of the debates that were out there were just people being condescending or trying, how dumb can I make this Trump supporter look? But my whole thing was, hey, you think that Trump is putting America first, and you think that we should stop funding Ukraine, but I would say funding Ukraine is putting America first. And then I give them my whole framework, and I try to pull them over. And a few clips went viral of me changing Trump supporters' minds, because I was 20 at the time, and I was giving them arguments they hadn't heard. So essentially, this YouTube channel that I created when I was 9 years old, making these dumb fucking Minecraft videos, has parlayed into this broader thing, this sphere that we're now at the forefront of, where we're doing online politics. So it's really interesting how a bunch of skills can combine later in life.
And what do you make of your association with MeidasTouch?
Yeah, I'm a contributor for them. So they essentially helped accelerate my career at the perfect time. When I started doing those debates, they went viral in certain areas of the internet. And the main dude from Meidas, Ben, he hit me up and was like, you're doing great work. Let me know if we can help in any way. So then I signed on to them as a contributor, and they helped just accelerate my career with connections and an audience. And now it's...
Why do you think they're doing so well?
MeidasTouch? I think they're speaking to, there's a few things. I think they're speaking to a broad audience that wasn't spoken to for a while. So Fox News is the biggest network in the United States, right? Isn't The Five the biggest show right now with
on cable?
On cable, yeah. So on cable, The Five is the largest show right now. And it's because, they have Jessica Tarlov there who pushes back. But a lot of Fox News is just speaking straight to the base, is giving the base what they want. I don't know if there was a strong Democratic version of that. I mean, you could argue MSNBC or CNN, but even CNN and MSNBC are still different in how they cover things. They're more mainstream. So MeidasTouch decided to essentially, create something for our base, for a pro-democracy base that wants to hear stuff that doesn't just sane-wash what Trump says. So I think that's why Meidas does well. I mean, a lot of people in America right now turn on the TV and they feel crazy when they hear Trump speak and say these crazy things, and people aren't really calling it out as much as they should. I mean, you probably disagree, but on certain networks, Trump is sane wash is what they say, where he'll say some crazy shit about Kirk or about how he does hate his opponents, and they just kind of make it a little footnote. It's not a big deal.
You would do nothing else. If you were to police Trump's statements, you would have time for nothing else.
Yeah.
And that's by design, by the way.
Yeah.
He floods the zone because there is a genius to his manipulation.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a genius and he's going to beat you on Jeopardy. That's not what I'm saying.
No, I always wonder that, though. He's got to have some sort of instincts with PR.
He knows what drives the media.
Yeah.
And he knows what works. and he knows how it works, and he knows with whom it works. Remember, this guy is not organic to his base. He listened to Tom Tancredo. He listened to Steve King. The wall was an acronym, was a euphemism that was offered him on a campaign bus just to have an idea in his head of metaphorically what to do. He made it literal as he learned that the more simplistic he was, the more sticky it got.
Yeah.
And that's not to disrespect. See, the mistake is, because his base is stupid. No, because politics is stupid. The base isn't stupid. These people aren't stupid. There's a whole range of sophistication of people who are within MAGA, who are now hating MAGA. There's a whole range. It's what their expectations are of the people who want the power, of campaigns, of politics. That's where the bar comes down. If you went and tried to sell them a new roof and did it the way Trump does, you're going to be on your way.
Yeah.
If you want to invest their kids' college money, you're going to be on your way.
Yeah.
But for politics, their bar is very low. And that's where I see opportunity. I'm told the MeidasTouch guys don't like me. They want a piece of me.
I have no clue.
They've never reached out to it. I'm fascinated by this.
Let me tell you, I'm a MeidasTouch guy and I like you, so it's all good.
Thank you, Adam.
They've never said anything to me about it.
It's nice of you to say also when you're trapped in my house right now. But I think it's an interesting aspect of the new media that I hear a lot more of that from that space than I would have ever heard. Like when guys on Fox didn't like me, it wasn't, I want to find that guy and beat his ass, especially when that's not going to happen. But I hear it all the time from digital media.
People don't like you.
Or that, no, but it's like it's not, I don't like you. It's not, I think what he says is silly. I think he's useless. Those kinds of things, that's what you sign up for when you want to be judged. It's personal.
Oh, yeah.
And it's often aggressive. And I don't think they mean it that way. I think only like an Andrew Tate means it seriously. But is that just like how it is with you guys, that you talk about like, destroying other guys?
I don't know about destroying other guys. I think that, I'd have to know exactly what's been said, like between Meidas or whatever. I don't know if they've said anything, but regarding the people in the audience, is that what you're talking about? Like people going after you?
No, those guys I heard. And I'm happy to go on and talk to them about whatever they want. I never say no unless
the
I
Meidas
feel
guys said they were going to kick your ass?
Yeah, that's what I was told. I don't watch, I don't follow
in
the
numbers
content.
or in person?
Oh, they definitely kick my ass in numbers. Anybody who plays to a side is going to kick my ass in numbers.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think there's a reality. The Meidas guys are actually quite non-confrontational. They don't really do debates. They don't really do on TV stuff. I'm the guy who does the debates because I can like talk to the other side and go on CNN and stuff. They honestly are not that confrontational. I don't think they would say they'd kick your ass, but maybe I could see them thinking you play both sides too much. A lot of people think that, but I don't think they'd say anything like that.
What's the alternative? If you reject the binary system, which I do, okay, I really believe the parties are the problem. And it can't be a coincidence that George Washington took all that time in his farewell address that was written by arguably the two greatest minds of that period within our founding, which was Hamilton and Madison, because that's who wrote Washington's thing. He did it twice. To say, avoid the parties. I really believe that it's hard for us to get better in this setup. So to pick a side, do I think the sides are equal? No, but they're playing the same game, and I hate the game. Yeah, but you should still pick a side. Then nothing gets better. Because look, right now it's getting worse. The left, liberals, Democrats, whatever you want to call yourselves, are resembling what you oppose more and more. Why? It's contagious. It works. Look at Newsom. He would laugh if you would go back in time 3 years and say 3 years from now you're going to be pretending to be Trump. He'd be like, fuck you, I'd get out first.
To be fair, it seems like the other side is becoming what they oppose too, though, because Republicans, the moment they got in power, didn't even wait a year to start canceling people, getting people fired. So it seems like both sides begin to morph into the other side. Yeah, so
you carry the burden on your side of being purists. They only carried it as a faux Christian Orthodox.
Yeah.
Right? And why? Because they have an escape hatch that Catholics don't have on the evangelical part of their faith of Christianity, which is, hey, I just found out, Adam, that you do all these horrible things. I know. I beg forgiveness from Jesus, my Lord and Savior, and now it's okay. For Catholics, you got to live with the guilt for the rest of your life, and it like never goes away. They get a free pass. as long as they say they're sorry. So it's easy for them to traffic in hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And they do. That's why whenever you see a little crucifix after a name on social media, you know you're getting a beating. You know what I mean? They're going to come at you. Why? Because they're always forgiven. I expect that of them.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's the same on both sides. I think that there is an opportunity. I was raised in it. I was raised by a real one, as you guys would say, okay? Mario Cuomo would be a dream for you guys today. Yeah, he was technically a white male, even though he wasn't called that in his time. He was dismissed as an ethnic, the way your grandfather would have been.
Yeah.
Right? Even though, pale, not pale, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's, well, you're Italian, gap-toothed, swarthy, mafia. He had to share his valedictory in college and in law school with an Irish guy because the schools were Irish dominant. He couldn't get a job on Wall Street as a lawyer, even though he was a genius because he was Italian. So it was a different kind of whiteness than I am. But he would be a dream for you guys. Why? Tough as fuck. But he's not going to be like you. He's going to be better than you. Like, yeah, you can say what you're going to say about me. We can take that up later. When we're off the stage, I'll talk to you. We'll see how it goes. But for right now, you tell me how you think that you can help people with affordability when what you're doing is taking money out of their pockets for this and that. That's what he was. That's your sweet spot.
We need a fighter. I mean, as a young dude, I think the Democratic...
Fighting the good fight.
Fighting the good fight, but the Democratic Party has just gotten suffocating. And we thought we were fighting the good fight for a few years, but I've got so many young men who are liberals, who share the same values as me about gay marriage and about all these things, but they just feel suffocated by the overall party.
Gay marriage is not a value. It is the law of equal protection. It's not a cultural preference. There's no religiosity to it. Marriage is a legal construct. It is an equal protection, no-brainer issue.
Yeah, tell Michael Knowles that. Michael Knowles thinks gay people shouldn't be able to adopt kids or get married or have these. He thinks
that's fine. Those are feelings. He can have those feelings.
Yeah.
Legally, they're either people or they're not.
Yeah.
If they are persons in the eye of the law, this is the reproductive rights problem. He's making a straw man argument, which is they're not the same as me.
Yeah.
They either are or they're not in the eyes of the law. Mm-hmm. And if they are, then they are accorded all the same rights as you. Yeah, but I don't like it. That's a culture issue.
Yeah.
That's a culture issue. And indoctrinating culture through law is very dicey. And they're supposed to be against it.
Yeah.
Small government, right? That's why they love to call themselves libertarians. Libertarian means I never run anything. I never do anything. I don't have to make anything better, but I'm better than you. And that's why I get frustrated by that moniker. But so you're saying you have like-minded individuals, and what do they want?
I mean, I've got a lot of young dudes, for example, that I talk to who are just sick and feel suffocated of the party because they think it's two things. Number one, a little bit too finger-waggy, but at the same time, while they're finger-wagging, it's like risk-averse. So the Democratic politicians always seem risk-averse. Donald Trump is not risk-averse. He'll go into any space, anybody with a microphone, he'll go debate and talk to you.
Because his own won't attack him and yours will.
That is one of the problems with our media ecosystem that we can get to. On the right, everybody from Nick Fuentes to Candace Owens to Ben Shapiro lines up at the end. But on the left, Hassan Piker, one of our biggest creators, he's a cool dude and I've watched him before, but during election time, he did not say to vote for Kamala. Our biggest creator on the left was not advocating to vote for Kamala. Meanwhile, on the right, they all completely line up. So people in my age cohort, and I think throughout the party too, just think that we've gotten lame, too risk-averse, and we need to be in these spaces making these arguments. Not saying we're going to kick the shit out of people. I don't know if Meidas actually said that, but not saying that. But I think that going and actually presenting the argument in a good faith way, not going to lie, the Charlie Kirk model, what Charlie Kirk was doing worked very well, and it's created this cultural dominance for the right. It's this theory that I have called the pipeline to volume theory in the algorithm, and I've seen this happen, where a lot of young men who are looking up dating advice, for example, like say every young dude has dating problems at some point. You get sucked down this Andrew Tate pipeline, this rabbit hole, and before you know it, you're watching Andrew Tate. What about my friends that just work out? They like working out, so they're watching reels on that. Then they get sucked down this pipeline to make America healthy again, meaning vaccines and Tylenol, blah, 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 all this stuff. There's also this pipeline with young mothers, where young mothers just had a baby are now getting pulled down this sort of anti-vax, like weird health pipeline. And then once you're down that, they hit you with so much volume, you can't escape it. Think of Elon Musk's Twitter feed. If you've ever scrolled through it, he posts 100 times a day, right? 100 tweets a day with millions of views. That's the volume. So on the right, you were saying earlier that Joe Rogan doesn't speak to the many. He still speaks to the few. And I do agree, actually. I agree a lot that us on social media, we're all speaking to...
But it gets amplified.
It gets amplified, and there's a cultural shift. You asked at the very beginning why I think it's important for us to talk about Charlie Kirk's beliefs when he just passed away. And I think we see this insidious amplification of his beliefs throughout the culture, throughout young men, young women, people of all ages that are now getting this amplified. And I think it's very important to be out there and be like, listen, Charlie Kirk shouldn't have gotten shot. Obviously, that is terrible. He got like publicly executed. It was terrible. But at the same time, this is a dude who repeatedly said the Civil Rights Act shouldn't have been passed.
No, not at the same time. Two things.
Yeah.
You're about to make the AOC mistake. And to be very clear, I say this all the time, but you got to say everything 100 fucking times. I think she's one of your best in terms of personal political cachet. I don't know if she's one of your leaders, and I don't know that you win a major election with her pushing socialism and a higher tax burden.
She's like a democratic socialist. I don't like the word socialism either, but
it's high taxes.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And it's a tough sell.
Well,
pragmatic. But hold on.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk never said the Civil Rights Act. I've studied this very deeply, and it's pretty simple. It'll take you 5 minutes. It's not what he said.
I've looked it up.
What he said was, Civil Rights Act, good. Needed it. Great.
No.
Was then used to inculcate DEI and do these other things by extension of that law that he was against, and that it should have never been used for those purposes. Not to help black people vote. That's he believed in. But to make it as an extension of a welfare program for blacks in every manifestation, that he was against.
Yep.
Now, I happen to disagree. I actually think it was necessary.
No, I've heard him make that argument.
He didn't say get rid of it.
I've heard him make that argument. I didn't say he said get rid of it. He said they never should have passed it. And he also he said that, right? They never should have passed it in the first place. And he made also...
No, I don't think he did say that. I think what he said was the way that what they did with it made it a mistake.
I did a lot of research on this because I wanted to make sure he actually said this. And essentially, he also made this other argument that black Americans committed a lot less crime and there were more households with both parents before the Civil Rights Act, which is actually true if you look up the statistics, but it's a lot more complicated than he made it out to be.
Yes, not because they didn't have rights.
No, so it's very complicated, but this is what Charlie Kirk would do. He would bundle...
That's a straw man argument.
He would bundle these arguments together. He would say the Civil Rights Act shouldn't have been passed. Yeah, I think that was his view. And he said it accelerated DEI being integrated into the workforce. He said that a lot. But then he would also make these arguments like black Americans committed way less crime and there were less fatherless households before the Civil Rights Act. So you can't blame someone if they get confused when Charlie Kirk is making all of these arguments.
I just think the way to do it matters, right?
How should I? So when I said that he shouldn't have been killed,
How do we stop the next one? Here's how we stop the next one. We have to check toxic ideas when we hear them. And we have to do it consistently. And we have to show that there is a better way to think about these things in America. And Charlie got shot for his beliefs, and it was wrong.
Yep.
Okay? The idea of memorializing beyond that point is problematic, okay? Charlie should be remembered by those who want to remember him for whatever reasons they want. The idea that we should enshrine his politics, I do not agree with. I agree that despite his politics, in fact, the more powerful point to me is I absolutely disagreed with 7 out of 10 things that would come out of Charlie's mouth. And I would have thrown myself in front of that bullet if I had the chance.
Really?
His kids are young.
Yeah.
And they need him in a way that my kids don't. I would have thrown myself in front of him. Why? Because when you start killing for ideas, the ideas will die. All of them.
Yeah.
And the way to finesse this argument is I have no explanation for anything but wrongness when it comes to what happened to Charlie. You want to memorialize him and say he was a great leader and an organizer. He was great. He helped Trump win. No question about it. But that's where it ends for me. Well, his ideas are now great too because he was killed for them. No, the ideas are not great. Killing them made you worse than his ideas, in my opinion. But I do not want to enshrine those ideas. I don't want to.
But they are being enshrined, and we can't let this vacuum exist in society that's being filled by Charlie Kirk's ideas. What about in like 3 decades? Can we
take them out of him? The mistake that Mehdi Hassan and these other guys make, okay, is they're forgetting their humanity and saying, look, Charlie Kirk was a racist. No, he was just murdered, not the right way. You talk about the ideas, And I'll tell you why Mehdi should get this. The same thing is true for your father's faith. Mm-hmm. Obama was right to not want to say Muslim terror. Mm-hmm. He was right. Why? Because 90% of Muslims reject that idea. Okay?
Yeah.
That's why he didn't want to say it. You have to say things the right way.
Yeah.
And there's a burden on that. And it's harder to do it that way.
So how should I hypothetically attack, even if I do disagree with the Civil Rights Act statement that we agreed he was making, how do I attack that if it's pervasive in society? Say my friend from high school who was apolitical then posts on his story, Charlie Kirk saying that. Do I just like not bring it up to him?
No, you just go with the idea. Has nothing to do with Charlie. Charlie isn't the first one to say that DEI was a mistake.
So you don't like people looping it together. I get
Not right after a bullet just flew through his head.
Yeah, I get that. Because like he talks shit about MLK, but this is 60 years after MLK was killed.
And look, I see Charlie in the same sentence as Martin Luther King in terms of people. Yeah, I don't.
No.
I think his murder was terrible. Murder for murder is murder. All murders for your ideas are terrible. They are not the same kind of person. One was a transcendent leader who lost traction during his day because he refused to succumb to darkness.
Can I ask you really quickly, when you said earlier that the sides need to tone down the rhetoric, that it's on, like you were saying, essentially it's incumbent on the leaders of the party to begin toning down the rhetoric.
Here's what I think.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not saying tone down the rhetoric. Why? Because it's empty. It won't happen that way. It's like I'm angry and you tell me to relax. You know what I mean? It's like that's not going to go well for you.
You said something to the effect of returning back to like a less.
What makes you guys formidable? Okay, the reason Democrats win elections is because they tap into the fact that America does not want to embrace bullies and harsh strength. My father beat Newt Gingrich in debates all across the country, and they went together as, not a team, but they were a couple, and they were booked out to do it, and he would beat him routinely. Why? Newt is harsh. There's a meanness to what he says. Wrapped in Christian orthodoxy or not, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's how it plays. And my father believed in sweet strength. Again, the tough motherfucker is not the guy who says he wants to beat your ass. It is the guy who no one wants to try to beat his ass.
So you think it's a display of weakness when Donald Trump talks all this shit? It's basically just him being insecure.
Yeah, if I were up against him.
Yeah.
If I were up against, it's easy.
But can I ask, how the hell, I don't get how Democrats are supposed to operate in this media environment or this political environment when Donald Trump went on TV and right after Erica Kirk, he said, I hate my political opponents. And yes, there was a bit of sarcasm in the tone that he was using and he laughed, but he literally said, I hate my political opponents. And then when I covered that, I got emails, people telling me tone it down when you're talking about Trump or whatever.
Right now you have a temporal sensitivity. I think that's okay. I felt the same way when I was covering the riots after George Floyd.
For the past decade, Trump has been amping up the rhetoric. And it's like, how do Democrats match this? What do you think Democrats should do when Donald Trump feels like, before Trump.
Have better ideas.
But Kamala did have better ideas, in my opinion.
She didn't articulate them.
She didn't, yeah. But the thing is, was there any politician in the mainstream who called to lock up their political opponent on stage before Trump? I think he was the first one to do that. So he entered us into this new stage.
People don't take him seriously the way they take you guys too. Look, this is very frustrating to compete against him.
It's so frustrating.
He gets a lot of benefits that you don't, okay? Mm-hmm. He is loved by people in a way that very few politicians have been, and they excuse almost all of his weaknesses. That would kill anyone running against him.
Yep.
So how do you deal with that? You have to change the game. The game is not which one of us is worse, because even though you should win in this game against me 10 times out of 10, the people judging don't hold me to the same standard as you. Change the game. Don't let the game change you. What are you about? I can fix the affordability problem. And not by giving everybody free shit. I get the word free is scary.
Yeah.
I get that socialism is a scary idea or word. I'm not going to use it. They don't pay their taxes, okay? They get away from paying their taxes in a way that everyone else can't.
Yep.
I can fix it. How? Not with this and this. Here's how. And then you got to have a plan, okay? And I'm going to target it to these states, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have a plan. I'm going to have a better idea, okay? Immigration. Okay, they were right. We fucked up on the border. Fucked it up.
Oh, yeah.
But he hasn't done shit about legal immigration. And we're sweating all these workers now because they're running away. We already had 7.5 million open jobs. We're going to start to see a function of our services collapsing. What I would do is, you bring people in here the wrong way, I will fucking end you. I will find out who you are and I will take your business from you. I'll figure out how to do it. If you bring people in the wrong way, I'm coming for you. Now, I'm also going to come to you and say, before I destroy you, do you need these guys? Do you have good guys here? Yeah, I do. I have good guys. They're not here legally, but they're good guys. All right, give me the list. Let's vet them. Let's find a way. Let's find a way to keep what we need. Because them telling you that these are the guys who are killing everybody, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not here to bullshit you. I'm here to fix. And I think you got to get obsessed with that. And what happens when you do that is, the more we tap into what's real, the less the noise goes away and the more people want signal. That the more we're talking about how, hey, look, grocery prices aren't going the right way. And let's talk about why. And this, we got to deal with our monetary system. We flooded the fucking markets, all this quantitative easing. Here's a plan. I got 2-3 guys that are going to help me do this. We're going to get it back, and it's going to help us with getting our prices in check. Now you don't want to hear the bullshit the same way. Hold on. Let him talk for a second. You know that part in a debate? Hold on. I want to hear him. Hold on. That's the part. And is that strength? Yeah, it's strong. Because the way I'm going to deal with your noise is going to show my strength. Don't talk about me. Don't talk about my family. Don't do it. This campaign's not worth it to me. All right? I'll put you on your ass right now, and this will be over. Look, at a certain point, that's what gets said man to man, okay? Is at a certain point, I can't say certain shit about you without there being a price. That's America.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a very American value. You don't insult me to my face and think you get a free pass. Only Ted Cruz does that, right? Only he'll back Trump after that. And now he's trying to have a spine again, but it's probably too late for him. That's the space for you guys. AOC is at the top of your potential presidential picks. I know it's just a preference poll. That's where we are. I don't believe there's any chance she can win.
In 2028? I don't think so. But
I don't think anyone, no majority in American society has ever. Now, if we become a different society, if we are a majority Latino and a huge infusion of poor Muslims, well, now maybe you can talk socialism, because they'll be coming from cultural reference points where that's much more acceptable to them.
Do you think that AOC could ever win in like a decade if she moderated a bit?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
The pendulum swings.
Oh, of course. It's man meets moment.
Yeah.
Right? So, but what she's saying right now, I'm telling you, even the Charlie Kirk stuff, I'm telling you my understanding of, and I listened to him 8, 9, 10 times explaining his position on it. He was not, blacks shouldn't have had the right to vote. It didn't need to, Jim Crow was, not a problem. All those things, he owns that. It's the DEI stuff he was attacking.
It is the DEI, but when he intentionally made an inflammatory argument about the Civil Rights Act, I believe he said it shouldn't have been passed. I believe that was his take, but it was to get towards the DEI stuff that he was arguing for. I just think that, it's fair game. If you're going to go out there and say inflammatory political stuff. Oh, it's fair game.
And let's say he did say it, okay? And then he corrected it 8, 9 times afterwards.
Yeah.
That's because the game is saying something obnoxious and outrageous and provocative, and that gets the clicks.
But he kept doubling down. There's a clip where he's reading an article, and he's like, they say the Civil Rights Act never should have been passed. That's true. I did say that multiple times. We talk about it on the show every single week. So I think AOC was doing, I disagree that the way AOC did it wasn't right. I think that she said political violence has no place, but then she began to talk about the actual implications of Charlie Kirk's beliefs. But
then how is she not then undoing her statement? If you say he should have never been killed, but he had a lot of fucking beliefs that should get you killed. That's
the same way that
that's the problem.
The same way that Charlie Kirk, when talking about MLK, said that MLK was a bad guy. He didn't agree with MLK's beliefs, but he shouldn't have been killed. He said the same thing about MLK.
But that's why Charlie Kirk wasn't president. That's why Charlie Kirk wasn't an elected office holder.
He was damn close. He was closer. Like he had a lot of power within the Republican Party. And I think that
a party is not an elected place. It is just a tradition. He was a big name and a big presence in a club.
Can I ask you, do you think it's any more disrespectful for Democrats to debunk Charlie Kirk than Trump going on stage and like making it all about himself for 40 minutes? I feel like that's pretty disrespectful.
You're judged differently. Yeah. I get that it's frustrating.
Yeah, I know.
But he doesn't get judged by his own the way you will get judged by your own and the ones that you're trying to get.
I think that Democrats right now, if some politician came and wanted to capitalize on it, they could create a blue MAGA very, very easily. We have a fan base that is ripe.
I think you are. I think there's reaction formation to MAGA right now. Look at what's happening in the New York City mayoral race or in Minnesota. My brother is a traditional centrist Democrat. Mm-hmm. That's what he is. He's a I can get it done guy.
You just said socialism wouldn't work, but how do you explain Zohran's win thus far?
Because I said on a national level.
And I agree, by the way.
The majority. But in New York City, you have tons of ethnic minorities, okay? Affordability is a real problem here.
Yeah.
It is an exaggerated example of an American reality of top versus bottom, the little bit on the top and everybody else, okay? And it's not a have and have not, it's a have too much and have not enough, okay? And words matter, ideas matter. So that's New York City. You also have a lot of Muslims in New York City.
But you have more Jews.
You do-ish, but being Jewish is a complicated matter right now in terms of politics, and they've been weaponized also. But why is a Democrat who was once a big deal in a struggle against a guy who was an open socialist, anti-police, all these other things, and very deferential to Islamist ideas in a city that suffered 9/11? How is this happening? I would have never thought it could happen because, one, packaging. He's not your father's jihadi Muslim, right? He doesn't seem scary. There's nothing scary about this guy at all, right? And while some of his ideas seem bad, he doesn't seem that bad. And the affordability is more important than all the other shit.
Yeah.
And young people have been made all these promises that are not coming true in your lives right now. More of you are moving back home than a generation ago in Gen X. We didn't move back home the way you guys are. Now, there is a lie in that, by the way. There's a lie. Who said moving back home and having multi-generational families is a bad thing?
Yeah.
Because that's where we are. There's an expectation. You are aberration. You dropped out of college and you're making a killing and you're doing great. Good for you.
Thank you.
I love that. I love it. But that's not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to go to college, supposed to finish, supposed to get a job, supposed to be on your own, supposed to kind of struggle, come to me for help, me kind of go like, I don't know. And then you're supposed to find somebody and get married and have your own house, right?
Yeah.
And you come see me once in a while, but never enough. Why? Why are we splintering families?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it work better that you do whatever you're going to do, but you stay with me?
Yeah.
I love having you around. We get along. And by the way, it'd be nice for you to contribute a little bit here, and you're going to be building wealth because you're not paying the nut the same way because you got me. And I'm not paying my nut the same way now because you're there. And now when you meet somebody and you want to get married, really, and you're ready, go. And until then, you'll find ways to be together. I promise you that.
Yeah.
And grandma's here. So guess what? When grandma gets frail, guess what problem we don't have? What's sinking families and people all over the country right now, which is elder care.
Yeah.
There's this idea that we're stronger apart. And I think during the pandemic, we saw that doesn't have to be true. But affordability is a crisis. You guys think you should be on your own. You can't afford it, and you're mad about it. That is reaction formation to MAGA. And the ideas of how to fix
it.
The
affordability piece is reaction just to the environment of...
It is, but it's being weaponized on that left reaction to MAGA, rightly so.
Yeah.
And the remedies are as radical as MAGA's remedies were on their issues. That's my problem with this binary setup.
Yeah, I feel like it also disproves... You did say that like a left-leaning MAGA wouldn't work on a national scale, and I agree to the socialism bit, but I think Zohran is a really good example of what we talked about at the very beginning, how there's two parts. You drive the attention then you drive the narrative. He was really good at online driving the attention, really good. And then he used that, in my opinion, to convert people like, oh, what's this guy about? Or like, oh, I see him on the street. Then they're interested in his policy. I think there's a two-pronged solution for Democrats.
Grievance, not solution-based, grievance.
But the grievances are things that people are living every day. But, like, you mean affordability? That is true, but the grievances with MAGA, yeah, that is true.
They're just not your grievances.
The grievances with MAGA is like somebody in Indiana being mad that immigrants are getting into the border over in Texas.
Because they think that's why their job isn't what they need it to be and why they can't make ends meet because all the services and the tax dollars are going to these people.
Yeah.
Now, is that true? No. But if I'm pissed off and my money is tight, it makes as much sense as anything else.
When I was on your show, I think 2 weeks ago, I floated a theory about young men getting radicalized in the algorithm. I can expand on it a bit because it was a good segment that we had with some Gen Z turning point guys on there. But essentially, like, I have this theory. This is a little bit off topic from what we were saying. I have this theory with young men getting radicalized in particular, where throughout COVID, I mean, it's been happening for a while, since Columbine, before that. But I think COVID, the pandemic, accelerated the isolation of a lot of young men. And I think what happened is, to me at least, I put a bubble around myself throughout COVID. I was spending less time with people. And I had to very intentionally tear that bubble down after and go hang out with my friends and start dating again. I could imagine a lot of young men who didn't tear that bubble down and their online radicalization was only accelerated, right? And then while that's happening, you have foreign actors, imagine like China, Russia, Iran, trying to weaken social cohesion. On top of all of that, you have Elon Musk, who bought Twitter. Elon Musk is radicalizing people en masse. And then Donald Trump, you may not agree with that, but I think Elon Musk, when he sends out these things with like 100 million views or whatever,
absolutely. I think completely irresponsible.
It's very irresponsible. And then the cherry on top is that Donald Trump himself is using all of this rhetoric. And of course, Democrats can have some sort of blame, but I think that Democrats do have a lot of blame, actually. Democrats did not create a space for young men that
you made
was
them
needed.
The problem.
We, not me in particular, I was still in like high school at the time, but Democrats made young men part of the problem, alienated young white men. And I even see this in my audience. I made a video the other day about how there's a problem with young men. And one of the top comments was like, Adam, don't you mean young white men? And I'm like, really? I did a whole analysis and your correction to me was not saying whites. That's kind of part of the problem with people on my side.
And also, it's not true. Young men are getting crushed right now. Why? Because we've made it that way. They are not a priority except in terms of villainizing. And it has worked. Okay? And that's why you have, and then you ism everything, right? So now you got them, now you call them incels. Oh, that's going to help. And you have social media is, completely suffused with women posing as these sages on things that just reinforce all this toxic stuff.
And then you get broken up with and you see Andrew Tate saying the women suck and you're like, oh.
And you're the problem. You're completely privileged. Especially if you're a white male. But if you're a male and a black male, you're completely privileged because gender matters more. And if you're white and a man, you're at the bottom. You've had way too much for way too long. Everything's too easy for you and you suck. And if you don't like being told that, oh, and now everybody does to you what they've said you've been doing to everybody else, but now suddenly it's okay. That has worked. And there are 10 other reasons, but it's a real problem. And people don't want to acknowledge it. Why? Well, because it's not in vogue. In vogue is to take care of other minorities, not what arguably is a majority. And this is the problem with not being able to put two ideas in your head at the same time because we have binary thinking. And because it's all one thing at a time and going to war on that one thing. And that's why Trump floods the zone. But it still leaves you at the end of our conversation, one of many, I hope, and I love spending time with you, is you have an opportunity. MAGA is reductive, it is negative, it is angry, okay? Right now, it's justifiably angry because one of their symbols was murdered for believing things that they think are fine, okay? I think you got to separate the man and the message, and then you can go after the message all you want. I will enshrine Charlie Kirk because I liked Charlie Kirk. Fine, that's your choice. His ideas? No, thank you. And the way you say that matters. And there cannot be a comma or a but anywhere near the murder part. There just can't. Charlie Kirk should have never been killed, but he believed a lot of things that were terrible. There's no reason for that. It's inappropriate. It's insensitive. And, well, then how do I do it? You wait for a discussion about the ideas. Well, we're going to memorialize Charlie. Well, I'm not in favor of that.
I think it's a week to wait, though. I mean, I'm just supposed to sit here and wait while these ideas infiltrate. I don't mean wait like let time pass.
I feel that way when people say we can't talk about guns because we just had a school shooting.
You mean like don't say it in the same breath?
Yeah, it's not about the murder. It's not about the murder was wrong for his beliefs. If you don't like his beliefs, have better beliefs. Don't kill him for his.
Yeah.
Let's have the debate. Give me the issue. The 64 Civil Rights Act, really? You know, I'll crush you on that about why we needed it at the time and probably need something like it today. Let's have the discussion. I respect you about it. And that's how you do it, is let's talk about the idea, not Charlie. It's not about Charlie. God forbid what happens to Charlie ever happens again. But let's talk about whatever the issues are that you don't like of his. Let me hear your better idea. That's the way to do it.
I have good news. In Chicago, we're starting this debate show where we're bringing people on, a lot of young people from Turning Point USA or other orgs, and it's going to be me talking to right-wingers in the most respectful way possible. Yeah, that's where...
I love it, and you don't always have to be respectful if I have a dumb idea. It's okay to say I have a dumb idea. What I would want to do, which of course would not be marketable in the in the information economy on digital media, I can sit down with anybody. Don't bring me some actual Nazi or something.
Not Nick Fuentes?
You know, don't bring me someone who is swallowed by malignancy, okay? But you bring me anybody who says that we disagree. I guarantee you we will agree about more things than we disagree.
Yeah.
And I know that that's not sexy and it's not clickbait and it won't work the way Jubilee is doing what they're doing. But that's what we need.
It actually pulls a lot of views. One of my first Trump rallies I went to, I started doing these Trump rallies with the fundamental idea that if I just explain things to people in a non-condescending way, they would agree with it or understand. There was this older Trump supporter, this older gentleman who was saying, we need to stop funding Ukraine and let's put America first. And I remember going, funding Ukraine is exactly how we put America first. We're giving them weaponry, old stockpiled military. It's helping our economy. By the end of this Trump supporter in a MAGA cap, it's online, he goes, wow, I had never realized that funding Ukraine was actually helpful for us. I'm going to go do more research on this. And I think that model right there, you can just have that type of conversation.
Just don't let your team put a thumbnail on it that says, watch MAGA get owned. Watch him realize.
It works.
I know, but man, it's feeding the problem.
Yeah.
And you did it right. You had a conversation and somebody realized that their ideas were not the only ones.
Yeah.
And that they're worth consideration. But when you say destroys.
No.
And now you're right back in the feedback loop.
That's more of like us having to play the algorithm game rather than me wanting to be intentionally inflammatory. Yeah.
Now, what will happen here is a lot of your people will come and say, man, you had Cuomo on that couch with you. You should this, and this, and this. It's the combativeness that is keeping us stuck. And you and I can disagree on ideas all day. And if anybody has a critical eye on this, they'll see that you and I are coming from different situations on most things. But the conversation is the cure. And I'm always welcome to have it with you.
And by the way, at some point, I would like to go back and forth and debate a little bit more. I've had a long week, so I'm a little bit more like just docile today.
You invite me on, I'll come to you,
on our
not
debate
to your
show.
house because I don't know where you live. But I will debate you on anything that you want anytime.
Let's do this more. I'll be doing a lot of New York trips over the next year, so I say we continue to have conversations.
Now, you will be frustrated because you're going to wind up seeing that I agree with you about a lot of things and you agree with me on a lot of things.
We'll find the disagreements. We'll find the disagreements.
That's fine, but within disagreement, usually conceptually, you're probably close to the right place. When you're talking about politics
yeah, of course.
And social policy in a place that is supposed to be about interdependence and interconnectedness. And if that's not what America is, then America doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because you can't do what we're trying to do here if you're having purity tests because we are impure.
I hate the purity tests.
I mean, look at you. We look kind of the same for people who want to check very general boxes. Your background is Syrian, Muslim, your mother's American. I don't have any of that in my background. I have two Italians whose families were from the same two towns for 6 generations. And yet, here we are trying to make it work together.
Your dad rose through the ranks to political fame, and that's the American dream in the same way that my grandpa slept in his car and then built a business out of nothing. It's the American dream.
His father was your grandfather. My father, one generation, his parents were uneducated, did not speak the language, had no skills, were not from Norway, okay? They were not welcome here. One generation later, my father didn't speak English until he was 8. One generation later, he was the governor of the state.
That's pretty wild.
That's the American dream.
That's wild.
Not money, not privilege, not because he had access, but because the system can work.
What year was his DNC speech?
1984 was his speech. But I think the one that mattered more was actually when he nominated Clinton in 92, when people thought he was going to run, and he made the case for Clinton and why it had to be him, which nobody else would have done. But my father was a different guy. Mr. Mockler.
Thank you. That was
continued success to you. You're always welcome on the couch.
Let's do it again.
Brother, be well.
That was great.
Smart. Makes my case that college isn't for everybody because Mockler dropped out and he's doing just fine. The question is what he wants the remedy? That's for you to decide and for us to test right here on the Chris Cuomo Project. So thank you for being with me, subscribing, following, checking me out on News Nation at 8 p. and 11 p. Eastern every weekday night. And listen, I believe in wearing your independence. The free agent gear is coming back. Wear it. This is a little special piece that I got from a local artist out where I live because I love that the crown of thorns are power chords, man, because social media is killing us. See you next time.